My name's Leslie. I'm the manager at Llancaeg Fawr Manor. Llancaeg Fawr is a tourist attraction which is nestled in the heart of the South Wales countryside. Now, the manor itself was actually built in 1550, but when you step through the door, you're actually travelling back in time to the middle of the Civil War, and those were dangerous times. So from the time your guests arrive on site, they'll be looked after by our wonderful team. They'll receive an introduction and reception before walking through the formal gardens over to the manor house, where they'll be greeted by the servants of Colonel Pritchard. And they will show them around the house, and they gossip all the time whilst they're over there, and they talk about their life and that of the master and mistress. So in practical terms, the manor is split over 3 floors, and thanks to the Heritage Lottery funding, we've actually put in a lift, which means that the less ambulant visitors are able to access the higher floors now. Tours take approximately an hour and a half, although if booked in advance, we can do special VIP tours of an hour. So usually we take around 90 visitors at a time, but under the current COVID conditions, we can actually do 24 over 3 floors. So obviously this has meant that we've changed the way in which we work. So for our larger parties, we're splitting them into 2 groups. One will be in the house and the other can be found throughout either the cafe, having a coffee, sitting in the gardens, viewing viewing the new exhibition that was recently opened by Prince Charles, or buying presents for friends and family in the gift shop. We certainly have enough on site to occupy their time. We have a large car park with plenty of coach parking available. So whilst your guests are occupied with the concerns of the Civil War, the coach driver can relax in the lounge with a complimentary meal and drink in the cafe. So pricing wise, for groups of 25 or more, the cost is £6 per person for the tour. And to make it even better value, we also do 1 person free per 10. And that's for all pre-booked tours and food and breakfast. Can't speak, food and beverage. So rather than me talk for the entire 5 minutes, I prepared a short video so you can actually see the site for yourself. So hopefully this is going to work. Let's give it a go. Share and play.
Yep.
there we go. That's our little presentation for Llancaeg Vawr Manor. I hope you like the look of the site. We've done a lot of maintenance work during the lockdown, so to make sure it's all safe and welcoming for when your guests arrive. Does anyone have any questions?
There's nothing posted in the chat forum at the moment, but people can as we carry on for the rest of the session. Thank you ever so much. That's a lovely film. Really taste of Llancaeg. Thank you, Leslie. Kelly, do you want to have another go?
Yeah, I'll go again. Fingers crossed this time. Is that coming up now?
Yes, you just got to put it onto slideshow now.
Yeah, no, I'm just pressing the button. Come on. Right.
Brilliant.
Looking. Yay! I'm used to Teams, you see. Right. Okay, so it's me again. I'm Kelly Powell. I'm the museum's manager here at Cyfarthfa Castle Museum in Merthyr Tydfil. And I'm here to give you a bit of information about us. So let's get on with the show. Okay, so it's built between 1824 and 1825 for the ironmaster William Crauchete II. This grand castellated mansion overlooked his immensely successful ironworks and is known for being the most impressive monument of the industrial Iron Age in South Wales. Merthyr Tydfil during this time was a capital of industry, with the iron being produced here being sent all around the world. Cyfarthfa Castle became the home of the Crauchete ironmasters for 3 generations before they moved out in the late 1880s. After being purchased by Merthyr Tydfil Council, in 1910, Cyfarthfa Castle was reopened as a museum and art gallery, and to this day houses historic artefacts linked to Merthyr Tydfil's past. Come and discover Cyfarthfa Museum's unique collections and learn about Merthyr Tydfil's rich heritage, from the Roman conquest to the Industrial Revolution and beyond. Tour the beautiful galleries to discover more about the lives of the people who once lived here and the amazing stories they left behind. Our fine and decorative art collections include Nantgarw and Swansea ceramics, paintings by Merthyr's own Penry Williams, named the Welsh Turner of his time, and a magnificent collection of Welsh contemporary paintings by notable artists including Cedric Morris. One of his paintings is shown here, Esther Granger and Cyffin Williams. Our popular tea room can cater for group visits and individual tours if requested in advance, offering hot and cold food and beverages to eat in and take away. Visitors to the museum can enjoy a yearly programme of talks, workshops, exhibitions and events. You can find more about these on our website. The castle is situated within 160 acres of parkland and the forestry that can offer woodland walks for all abilities, family nature trails, geocaching, a fishing lake, quite a large one you can see on screen, and a seasonal miniature railway. There's also a children's playground and splash pad, which is currently being refurbished and is going to be reopening later on this year. So this is the splash pad you're seeing now. Thanks to Welsh Government Valleys Regional Park funding, we're excited to announce the redevelopment of our Canolfan splash pad area, which later this year will be reopening with a new 80-seater cafe, decking and outdoor seating area, which will more than accommodate big coach groups. The park also plays host and is an ideal setting for annual large-scale events that include fireworks, concerts and festivals. A visit to Cyfarthfa wouldn't be complete without a trip to Joseph Parry's cottage. This 2-up, 2-down 19th century ironworks cottage is just a 5-minute drive from Cyfarthfa with coach parking nearby. It includes a faithful recreation of a period cottage set in the 1840s on the ground floor and exhibitions on the first floor of the life of the composer Joseph Parry, who obviously was born here. It also displays living conditions of Merthyr Tydfil's iron workers. So you get a bit both sides really, the iron masters and the iron workers. Cyfarthfa Museum and Park is conveniently situated just off the A470 and the A465 heads of the Valleys Road, with Joseph Parry's cottage close by. Both sites include free parking and spaces for coaches. We are operating an online booking system for all visits, and if you'd like to find out more, please contact us. We look forward to welcoming you. Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly. So for groups, would they book through you online or should they phone to make a booking?
Probably best to phone ahead to make a booking. At the moment, we've got some restrictions in place, but obviously, hopefully they'll be lifted, and we can just book you across various time slots then. But yeah, phone, email, or yeah, just go onto the booking system. But if there's a large group, I would phone ahead.
So would you do it you'd take a group and split it into group time sort of?
Yes, we'd split them into smaller groups, and also you could probably go and use the tea room as well. We've got outside seating, which I haven't got to date photographs of, but it's really lovely at the moment. It's a real sun trap. Okay. And then, as I said, later on this year, the Canolfan up by the splash pad is going to be open with 80 seats inside and another 20 on the outside. So that would accommodate really large coach parties.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Kelly.
Okay, thank
you. Unshare your screen.
Right.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you. So now we're going over to Katie with Caldicot Castle and Tinternode Station. Katie, do you want to unmute?
Yeah, I've just managed to unmute myself. That's a good start, isn't it? Let's just see if I can share my screen with you. Can you see that, everybody?
Yeah, just put it onto slideshow. Brilliant.
Okay. All right. Okay. So my name's Kate Burton. I'm actually based at the Tourist Information Centre in Chepstow, but I'm presenting today on behalf of Caldicot Castle, Tinternode Station and the TIC, so part of the Monmouthshire Attractions Group. This is Caldicot Castle. It's a beautiful, beautiful medieval castle set in around 55 acres of idyllic country park. It was developed as a fortress in the Middle Ages and then restored later in the Victorian times as a Victorian family home. And the beauty of this site is that the River Neddon actually runs through the country park, and there's some beautiful sort of ponds at the back of the castle with a variety of different wildfowl and lots of nature. It's an absolutely beautiful site. You can in normal times, you can actually explore the medieval towers and go up to the top of them and view over this country park and surrounding areas. But I think at the moment those are closed, but the main sort of castle grounds are open. But obviously post-COVID, hopefully that will change. So from the group offer perspective, then we offer free coach parking. Drivers are catered for. We have toilets and refreshments there, and there's also a small cafe there as well for coach groups. You can pre-book guided tours. What we recommend is, obviously, if you are looking to come to us, just give us a call or email us in advance of actually coming, just to make sure, obviously, that we can accommodate your group and tailor your visit to your needs, really. We offer pre-bookable picnics, packed lunches, also living history, character workshops, and there's the contact details for us on the bottom there. So we're open daily at the moment, apart from a Monday. So Tuesday to Sunday, we're open April to October from 11 till 4. And then during weekends, event weekends and school holidays, we're normally open till around 5 o'clock. Admission is normally free except on the event days. And obviously there are additional charges for the sort of living history guided tours and things like that. In terms of access, it is quite low level, that the main part of the ground. So the ground level access is pretty good to the courtyard. A mobility scooter may be available to be pre-booked in advance. Dogs are welcome. We like little doggies coming around to the castle, but they need to be supervised and on a lead. So this is a picture of the castle that one of our park rangers took. It's absolutely beautiful, stunning. So where are we? We're from the M4. You need to take junction 23 and 23A and the B4245 to Caldicot. And then from the M48, it's junction 2 for Chepstow and follow the A48 towards Newport and then the B4245 to Caldicot. So I put a little map there so you can see where we are just off the M4. Another attraction within Monmouthshire then is the old station at Tintern, nestled in the heart of the Wye Valley, nestled next to the River Wye. It's a 10-acre site, absolutely beautiful site with railway carriages and with a shop inside and a beautiful signal box and tea rooms which offer a selection of teas, coffees, cakes, sandwiches and light lunches. There's also a beautiful riverside walk down at the bottom end of the site which follows the River Wye. It's absolutely stunning. So there's a little picture there of the carriages and you can see to the right of that image there, you can see the parking area for the coaches there. So again, we cater for groups and schools. We do ask that you book in advance or drop us an email or give us a call just to let us know that you're coming so that we can meet your requirements when you arrive on site. The site itself is open from April to October, 10 till 5, April to September, and then 10 till 4 in October. There are trails and activity leaflets available for schools and groups should you require it as well. There's a little example there of the menus that we've got on offer at Tintern. I think that was when we first reopened, so that's just got the tea and coffee offer on there. That's a view there from the meadow actually at the bottom of the site alongside the River Wye on that riverside walk. We also offer itinerary planning and visitor advice. So at the Tourist Information Centre, we can help with planning your tour itineraries and help you with suggested places to visit along your route. We are coach friendly there at the TIC. We offer a free cup of coffee to drivers and we have around 5 coach bays located right next to the visitor centre, which is in the Castle car park in Chepstow. We have light refreshments for visitors such as coffee and cake, and there's a cafe style exhibition room. And again, the same as our other attractions, we just ask you to just give us a call in advance or email us just to let us know you're coming so we can meet your requirements when you're there. We are open every day. And we can also provide any sort of maps, trails, attraction leaflets that you might require for your groups. I know that a lot of groups that we see do like to have something to take away with them in terms of maps and trails, so we can provide those for you. And there's just a couple of pictures there of our beautiful shop that we've got, and there's lots of you know, lovely unique Welsh gifts on offer there. And then a selection of the drinks and snacks offer that's available on the left hand side there, and then to the right you can see this is our sort of cafe exhibition room, where if you are planning on stopping in the sort of the lower Wye area in Chepstow, then we can obviously help with that as well. Okay, I think that's it.
Thank you very much, Kate.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a question, how many undercover covers are there at the old station? How much indoor seating?
Well, we've got a small in the cafe area. I think probably at the moment it's probably about 20 in there at the moment, I would say. Obviously we haven't, it's not fully operational in terms of indoor seating area. We're not operating like a pre-booking system or anything like that at the moment. For tables and chairs, for seats for the cafe, but I would say it's probably about 20 to 25 there at the moment we've got. All right.
And will they provide the driver with a cuppa?
Yes, we always do. In Monmouthshire attractions, always provide them with a free cuppa. That's all right.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. So now it's Faye with Cardiff Castle. You there, Faye?
Hello. Yeah, I'm here. Hello.
Okay, so this is a double act because I've got to be the sharer.
Yeah.
So, fingers crossed this is going to work, Faye.
It will. It'll be fun.
I did the wrong thing then. So. Right, where have I put it? It is. Sorry, I couldn't see it for looking then. So tell me when you want to.
Lovely. Thank you. So hi, I'm Faye Tanner. I'm Commercial Partnerships Manager for Visit and Meet Cardiff. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about Cardiff Castle. So Cardiff Castle is one of Wales's leading heritage attractions and a site of international significance. Located within beautiful parklands at the heart of the capital city centre, Cardiff Castle's Romanesque walls and fairy tale towers conceal 2,000 years of history. The site you see today is a reconstructed Roman fort, an impressive Norman castle, and an extraordinary Victorian Gothic fantasy palace created for one of the world's richest men, the Marquis of Bute. Cardiff is a really green city with lots of parkland, and one of the most notable parks is Bute Park and is the surrounding gardens that the castle sits within. It also borders the River Taff. Reaching the city centre and the parking areas is very simple. Arrival from the north of the city via the A48, M4 and down the North Road is the easiest way, and there's very accessible coach bays for drop-off. Parking is available around the city, and we have a handy map that we can provide for all the current information available from Visit Cardiff. We are pleased to offer coach drivers complimentary refreshments as part of our welcome to Cardiff Castle. And there's also a meet and greet service that can be booked in advance for your group, which adds a nice welcome to the city. There are plenty of activities in the castle to keep your guests entertained. Climb the mighty Norman Keep and see our replica trebuchet. Marvel at the castle apartments created for one of the world's richest men. Discover the Roman remains and Chariot Corner. Explore the firing line military museum and experience the wartime shelters. Enjoy a scenic stroll along the battlement walk, all included in the price of the ticket. You can explore more of the castle's spectacular Victorian interiors by adding on one of our tours and delve a little deeper into the story of this amazing building. For a small additional fee, follow in the footsteps of the Bute family with one of our expert guides and join one of our regular tours. Bookings are currently needing to be made via calling the booking line. The 15th century Undercroft, the stone vaulted space, is one of the oldest parts of the castle today. It's popular for dining and entertaining medieval banquets. Decorated with hanging banners and drapes, the Undercroft is hugely atmospheric and has its own private bar and reception area. The banqueting room provides a spectacular setting with high ceilings, atmospheric lighting, and medieval themed decoration. The magnificent hall is the largest and most impressive rooms in the castle and was used for the Bute family for entertaining. Pre-dinner receptions can be held in the adjoining library and drawing room. Currently, the castle is not able to provide these indoor large events due to COVID and the Welsh Government restrictions, but we plan on restarting them again as soon as we're able to. Cardiff Castle is open to visitors 7 days a week, all year round, apart from Christmas and some major event dates. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, we're currently releasing tickets online only on a booking basis on a weekly basis. Every Monday at 10 AM, the tickets will be made available for the following week. The public square is open to the public daily and is free of charge to enjoy the green space and visit the gift shop. There is also a good food offering from the Keep Terrace with a selection of light meals, coffee and alcoholic beverages. The spacious terrace is on a good day, is drenched in sun and has the nicest outdoor space in Cardiff. Where possible, we make provisions to ensure the site is accessible for mobility scooters and buggy users, but please note the castle apartments and Norman Keep are not accessible by wheelchair. For assistance travelling between the car park and castle, the Cardiff Mobility Buggy is a free service and available for pick-up and drop-off between 2 locations in the city. The castle grounds are flat, with much of it laid to lawn. Groups can currently book to visit Cardiff Castle, but of course within Welsh Government guidelines. Our general terms for group rates apply to pre-booked groups of 20 or more visitors, and usually a maximum of 25 people on a tour. Tours are not currently taking place for groups, but you can discuss your requirements with the booking office, who can advise what they can do. Cardiff Castle also contracts regular tour groups and banquets with even more favourable rates. Again, this can be discussed with the booking office. Cardiff has a large selection of branded and independent hotels, but also a few Welsh-themed hotels, such as Hotel Indigo and the Exchange Hotel, which was once the Coal Exchange building and where much of Cardiff's wealth stemmed. The city has a good selection of service apartments, hostels and bed and breakfast located in the city centre and all very close to the castle. Thanks for listening. If you'd like some further information on news and blogs, please either follow us on one of our social channels, and for any bookings, you can contact us on the booking line, which I'll add into the chat later. And now I'd like to show you a short video of the castle and some of the amazing interiors that you would see on any of the tours. Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you, Faye. It's a really atmospheric film, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Very patriotic.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that. Any questions, pop them in the chat box. I don't think there's anything in there waiting. Now, Royal Mint. Royal Mint experience, I should say. So Paul Brandwood.
Hi, thank you very much.
Hi, Paul.
Yes, so my name's Paul. I'm from the Royal Mint and the Royal Mint Experience. And I'm just going to bring up my presentation for you now. Have we got that yet?
Yep.
Wonderful. So yeah, I would say I'm from the Royal Mint experience based in Llantrissant. So the Royal Mint experience is actually 5 years old this year. And for some reason, my presentation isn't playing. 2 seconds. Oh, there we go. So the Royal Mint, for those who don't know, is the home of UK coins, which where all the coins in your pocket are made. We are located just 4 miles from the M4 and 20 minutes from Cardiff city centre. And we've got a large on-site car park, and parking for coaching is completely free. We've got large spaces for multiple coaches on the day. So once your guests arrive and we clear COVID regulations, do temperature checks and track and trace, we're then going to take your guests straight through onto a guided tour. This is where they get to go behind the scenes of the Royal Mint and actually see how the coins are made that are in your pocket today. We'll take them and show them how they come in. They arrive on strips of metal and how we punch them into the size of the coins and the machines that are used to put the heads and the tails on the coins and the lettering in the right.
We're losing you a bit, Paul.
Around the rim of the coin. So they'll get to see the modern, before taking them to the factory, all busy. Have you got me?
Yeah, you're back again now.
Oh, sorry, I don't know what happened there.
Carry on.
I'll keep going. If I lose, say I'm getting internet unstable at the minute. So yeah, they'll get to see into the factory and how the coins are made on a daily basis. After entering the factory, they'll then get an opportunity to make one of their own coins. It's the only place in the UK where you can strike an official UK coin with our Strike Roll machine. They'll get to see the blank coin loaded into the machine. At the moment, we're striking a decimalisation coin, and your guests can buy them for £6.95. After exiting the factory, then we're going to take them over to the exhibition, and we're going to tell them the story of how we moved from the Tower of London and why we're at Llantrissant today and our new factory. Following that, they then can enter into our exhibition and discover over 1,100 years worth of history that's held on site. It'll tell them all about the gold, the worth of gold and the types of gold coins that we're making and the historic gold coins we've got on site. It'll also give them an insight into all the countries that we're minting for around the world. To give you an idea, the Royal Mint is the largest exporting mint in the world. So we, flying the flag for the UK there. They'll also get to see some of the machinery that we've got right the way back to Tower Hill and the Tower of London, and the difference between machinery then and now, and also the types of blanks that we create throughout the exhibition. There's also separate parts of the exhibition at the moment. We've got an area dedicated to Prince Philip. Prince Philip was on the board of the Royal Mint right up until this year, so you'll get to learn about that. And history that is still taking place today. So things like the Trial of the Picts, which is in London, where we take the metal and the coins down to London to have them graded to make sure that they are meeting industry standards. As you've seen in the film earlier, they'll get to see the Olympic gold medals, as well as some of the other medals we make for things like the military, the police, the fire brigade, and some royal medals. And then we've got an exhibition dedicated to decimalisation. So decimalisation is the reason why the Royal Mint is in Llantrissant today, and it'll give them a real insight into why decimalisation came in and the difference between old money, new money, and the reasons why I say we are in Llantrissant. The Royal Mint experience is home to the only official Royal Mint store besides our website, and it stocks all our goods in there, as well as some lovely Welsh gifts like Penderyn and Hensel. We've got an on-site cafe where you can pre-book lunch for all your customers, or we can even do takeaway. We do afternoon teas, hot meals, light snacks, toasties, tea cakes. Great choice in there. And if your group is eating on site, the tour guide and your driver will eat for free as well. So say if they're having lunch, then anyone who's driving your coach or your tour guide will get theirs free as well. We've also got an area of the exhibition which is dedicated to the NHS. So during lockdown, the Rowment Experience became a hub to manufacture 1.2 million visors for our NHS heroes. And there's a section in there which shows these by our own teams, and the Rowment Experience staff actually made these by hand in the experience. So that's quite a nice little touch to have a look at. So our pricing for 21 and 22, groups of 10 or more is £10 per person. I don't know why that's gone back, sorry. £10 per person for groups of 10 or more. If you want to pre-book your lunch, it's £15. And that's for the whole group, so £15 per person. And also we have got a couple of packages on there, which you'll see we've partnered up with Hensel Castle. So you can do the Rowment in Hensel Castle at £28 per person. So that's 2 attractions in one day. And the Mines, the Rhondda Heritage Park, is £20 per person. And that includes a strike your own coin and a free gift. So we can actually tailor a whole day just for your group on one phone call. My details there. So if you get any questions, you can give me a shout at any time. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Paul. We did some survey work with tour operators earlier in the year and through Steve, and Royal Mint was mentioned quite a few times as being a favourite attraction for groups. So I'm sure it'll pick back up again and the groups will return.
We're actually surprised that we have been really busy with the groups, which is great, you know, and I think it's more of a challenge getting the groups in with the COVID regulations than actually getting the business through the door at the minute. So it's really nice. And I think, you know, for everyone who's on the call, just, you know, thank you for your support so far. You know, it's been overwhelming, and you said we're here to work with you going forward.
Brilliant. Thank you. If you could stop sharing your screen.
That's there we go.
There we are. Brilliant. Thank you very much. So if anybody wants to ask any questions, this is the last talk that we're going to have now. So ask any questions now, and Steve will sum up the day, I hope, after we've heard this last talk. That's your warning, Steve. You have 6 minutes, because that's what Alison has promised she's going to spend on telling us the gems of Blaenau Gwent. So thank you very much, Paul. Over to Alison. Speak,
Hi,
Alison.
everyone. Just sharing the screen. Hiya, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
It's saying my connection is unstable, so I'm just going to switch off my camera to see if I can get more bandwidth.
There we are. We've got your PowerPoint. So fingers crossed.
Okay then.
Voice.
Well, I hope you've had a great day discovering the delights of Southern Wales. Now, you may not be familiar with Blaenau Gwent, as we are one of the smallest local authority areas in Wales. We are located at the head of the South Wales Valleys and on the fringe of the Brecon Beacons. We may be small, but we have lots to see and do, and all of our attractions are free to visit. So I'll say that again, all of our attractions are free to visit, so they add a lot to your itinerary. So I will now show you some of our highlights. This is Tredegar Town Clock. It's the tallest freestanding clock in the UK and stands proudly in the circle, the heartbeat of the town. On towards the corners, we have the Cambrellan Inn and the Tredegar Arms Hotel. I will tell you a little more about those later in the presentation. The circle also hosts 2 museums. One is the Tredegar Local History Museum, and the other is due to open next month, is the Tredegar Medical Aid Heritage Centre. The new centre celebrates Blaenau Gwent as the home of the NHS, as an Eileen Bevan MP used this local organisation as the blueprint for our beloved National Health Service. And over the past year, we have all cherished the NHS more fondly than ever. Just down the hill from the circle is the Dwelty House and Park. The former Iron Master, Lord Tredegar, left it to the town when the ironworks closed, and it has been enjoyed by locals and visitors for the last 120 years. The house serves delicious homemade refreshments, and can offer private dining for groups. It contains the original chamber for Treviga Urban District Council, where Bevan was first elected, and this now shows a film about his oratory. The park has landscape gardens, a fine collection of trees, cascade pools, ice house, a grotto, kitchen garden, and the largest lump of coal in the world. And it also has the second largest lump of coal in the world, but you have to visit to find out more about those. Tours of the house and gardens can be arranged on request. High on the hillside between Treviga and Ebervale sits this memorial to Aneurin Bevan. Three of the stone monoliths represent the three towns of Treviga, Rumney and Ebervale that made up his constituency, with a central stone representing the man himself. There are several trails relating to Nye that can be walked, cycled or driven, all taking locations relating to Nye and the history of the NHS. In Six Fells, Abertillery, we find Guardian, the memorial to the 45 men and boys who lost their lives on the 28th of June 1960. When
Alison,
yeah?
Your voice is so breaking up, people can't really hear it. So should we just go through the photos and I can just say some words?
I'll speak a little louder then.
Okay, speak right up to the mic.
The memorial tower is 20 metres above you and was erected on the 50th anniversary of the disaster that was the largest in the nationalised coal industry. It shows the true price of coal and the impact on this small community. Nearby is a heritage centre telling of this sad chapter in our history. Private Gwent has 5 small museums.
Sorry, Alison, we still can't hear you.
Telling their local story.
Alison, I'll talk over. We can't understand you, Alison. Can I talk? Can I do the talking? Yep. So Blaenau Gwent has...
Go on.
Blaenau Gwent has got some great local community museums, all of which are free to visit. And this one's the Abertillery one, where they've got some really creative ways of displaying their local heritage in the form of shop windows and counters and in drawers and things like that. So they've each got their unique story to tell. And then we've got Roundhouse Towers, which was the last defensive structure built within the UK, a private defensive structure. So it was built by the Ironmaster when he was fearful of being attacked by his workers. And so now recently it's moved down the family and some new wonderful self-catering cottages are being created in some of the farm buildings. So it's a really unique site within South Wales. And the story goes that there's a tunnel that runs from the old house to the Roundhouse Towers, although nobody's ever discovered it. And so that's Nanty Glo, and then you go near to Ebervale and you've got the owl sanctuary, which really allows you to get hands-on with owls, most of which are rescued from the wild and then looked after by the volunteers. It's a wonderful little facility and really gets you back to nature, that theme that we've been talking about all day. The area is brilliant for cycling and walking, and Alison produces a whole range of leaflets with inspired heritage and nature walks. And we've got things like Silent Valley, the wonderful nature reserve, trails that have been created running through the valleys, often on the old railway routes, which means that they're a really good low gradient and so ideal for family exploring. And then Park Rimbark, which this is another site that was an industrial site. There used to be open cast mining there, and now it's a fantastic water sports location, all based around, I think it's a 90-acre lake in the centre, and there's cycle routes around it and walk routes, as well as activity like stand-up paddleboarding, kayaking, wild swimming, but there's also on-land activities, things like golf, football, or is it football, golf? I'm never sure which way round it goes. And the staff there are adventure guides as well, so can take you off again onto other places, other parts of South Wales to do other sorts of adventures. such as paragliding and caving. So as we've got here, some examples often done for school groups, but can equally be done for adult groups to go off and explore the area as team building or as just adventures. So then we've got a couple of great hotels, new hotels developed in Tredegar, and these are sister hotels. There's the Cambrian, which is to the north of the clock, and then the Tredegar Arms, which is slightly to the south of the clock, but they can work together. So your group could be housed over the two locations. And then there's great facilities for group catering in the Tredegar Arms. So you can sort of use Tredegar as your hotel. So as I say, private dining, large private dining facilities down at the Tredegar Arms. So it's a great place to base yourself if you're exploring the north of southern Wales, along the heads of the valleys. There's Alison's contacts. I didn't get around to putting them in the thing in the chat box, but they'll be in the list that comes out to everybody. And Alison will help you to sort of put together a package in whatever way you want for your group. Sorry, Alison, but we couldn't hear you. Thank you, Alison. Thank you all so much, everybody, for putting up with the whole day of this. Steve, do you want to summarise, if you're still awake?
Absolutely. I presume you mean this, Steve?
Yes, that's Steve. Yeah.
We've had a plethora of Steves today, as you know. Personally, I'd just like to say briefly, big thanks to Kim, who's put all this together. She must be a technical marvel to cope with a showcase, a workshop, a familiarization, all combined and all digitally. So I think it worked absolutely brilliant. Kim, you know, we've got through some good things today, and we've kept the Southern Wales showcase concept and event going this way. So I'd also like to thank all the speakers who came on. I found it very interesting. It's made me feel today that I've actually been in Southern Wales and not sitting here in Hampshire. I've quite enjoyed it. It's kept things going. And by keeping things going, I hope that it's going to generate bookings and at least inquiries for the businesses, certainly the businesses who are on today and other Southern Wales businesses as well. I could tell that by some of the questions, so I'm sure it's going to happen. Presumably people will be able to make their group inquiries and rate inquiries, available, you know, room availability, for example, through the contacts that you're giving out, Kim, that's right?
Yep. The contacts will come out to everybody, and we're more than happy to start arranging one-to-one fam visits. If there's things you'd like to experience to know how you can incorporate them in your tours for the future, then get in touch, and if we can arrange visits so that you can actually be that ambassador for Southern Wales.
That's a really great idea. Because we work all over the country, I've got to say that I've been pleasantly surprised today, because there are other destinations, I won't name them, around the UK who are not, they're nowhere near group ready. And I have to say, Southern Wales is certainly getting there. It's certainly getting there. So I'm quite impressed and heartened. I'm heartened by some of the things that I heard when we first started from some of the bigger attractions who said they are indeed ready for groups and taking groups. That's good news, because we've had some bad vibes around the country that a lot of tour planners can't get their tours working because the industry is not ready. It's very much a patchwork quilt. But the news from Southern Wales today, hope it's all right, is that most people, most attractions, most hotels are ready to get back with quotes and with availability and to sort these group inquiries. That's a key thing. I think the variety of the accommodation that was on is pretty mind-boggling, actually, because one of the problems that tour planners around the UK have are getting reliable group-friendly hotels that do offer a reliable service. I don't mean cheap hotels, I don't mean really expensive hotels, I mean the full range and variety, and that's what we've had. We've got personal experience of quite a few of them, actually, and some that weren't on today. So the The accommodation is crucial, and Southern Wales has got it there. Apart from that, the attractions are what I think makes Southern Wales so popular. We've been working with Southern Wales for about 6 or 7 years now, when I go back. And every year, Judith and I have surprised ourselves with the amount of tour planners wanting to sign up to go to Southern Wales on a real event, on an event there. So that's always taught us something. It's got a lot of pulling power. A lot of the attractions who have been on today, you know, for example, the Royal Mint, the National Museum, and the Mining Heritage, etc., etc. Quite a few of them there are actually free of charge to get in. Some of them have a cover charge, but they're definitely worth it. So it's what makes a good tour. So I mentioned the attractions. A big element, which has come out this morning as well, is the food and drink side. Every group tour is going to need to have a taste of Welsh food and drink. I was particularly interested in the Mead man who was talking about mead, because I'm from Northumberland and I remember how important it is. Lindisfarne mead. I've literally given thousands of bottles of Lindisfarne mead in my career, so much so I was sometimes referred to as Steve Mead. And the adventure side. Now, I've always said this, and it's something that we try to push. So when you're planning your tours, tour operators, group travel organisers, always be a little bit daring if you can, and try to put something in new that might just test your group a little bit, because they will go away satisfied. There are many different things that your average group travel organizer, for example, would be prepared to try, whether it's cycling, orienteering, foraging, whatever it is. So all of those different things that we had to get, that we've been talking about today, together form the group offer of Southern Wales. So I think, as Kim just said there, I think some people here are going to be contacted with a view to perhaps some sort of visit in some shape or form in the future. And maybe that's another way to get this big group travel ball rolling again for Southern Wales, and also for your tours as well from all over the UK coming into Southern Wales. So thank you, Kim.
Thank you all for bearing with us today. Sorry if there were any techie bits that you saw that you shouldn't have seen, but we tried.
Oh, it definitely did.
Thank you all very much for attending, and enjoy your little tipples tonight if you haven't already. A gin and tonic should go down well now.
Will.
Thank you all very much indeed.
Thank you.
See you.